Commission. If we could, roll call.
Yes. Commissioner McCauley? Here. Commissioner Deckman?
Here.
Commissioner Blair?
Here.
Chair Lang?
Here.
I'd like to just note the absences of Commissioners Joseph Tsai, Corman Super, and Vice Chair Rowe, but we do have a quorum.
Okay, great. If we could all rise to salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. On to approve order of agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the order of agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, blue folder items. I think we do have.
Yes, we do have one blue folder item. We received an email communication from a resident near Franklin Park regarding some damage to the the basketball and pickleball courts at that location. So we just do need a motion to receive and file that item.
Do we have a motion to receive and file?
I'll make a motion to receive and file the blue folder items.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. On to the consent calendar. We have the affidavit of posting, and I can make a motion. Is this the one where you can lump them all together?
Yes. Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar items?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And there's no excluded consent calendar items, so we're on to public participation on non-agenda items. Do we have any comments? Oh, okay.
There we go. I'm calling Chris Page for non-agenda item.
Hi, my name is Chris Page and I live in North Redondo. As many of you know, the after-school program is an essential service for parents that need affordable childcare while also providing a safe and structured environment for kids. The quality of the program is a result of the fantastic rec staff and the administrative team that supports the program. 2 years ago, this commission spent several hours over 2 meetings addressing the long wait lists because the rec department was unable to hire and retain enough staff. I wish I could tell you things have gotten better in the past 2 years, but it's now the 4th year in a row with hundreds of kids on the wait list after registration. After school's enrollment was 955 kids in 2019, but only 480 today at registration. On registration day, parents are frantically refreshing the website because all spots are gone in just 2 to 3 minutes. Some kids that were in after school last year have lost spots in the upcoming year, including my daughter. The waitlist process is equally frustrating. We were confirmed 8th on the waitlist in May, and this week somehow I've moved down to 14th. Waitlisted parents' only option is a program called Right at School because CDC also has long waitlists and just dropped care for 4th and 5th graders. If you're not familiar with Right at School, they were contracted by RBUSD starting in 2022 to only provide state-mandated free care and supplemental education for low-income English learners, foster, and homeless youth. Recognizing the persistently long wait list in after school and CDC, Right at School, which is owned by a private equity firm, started offering self-pay options for $600 per month, which is almost double what they charge RBUSD for free care students in the same program. Waitlisted parents who paid $2,000 last year for rec now have to pay $6,000 a year for after-school care if they can't get into rec. To address the hiring and capacity issue, the City Council approved a pay increase in this year's budget, offset by a fee increase. The Council approved the starting pay increase for after-school staff of $1 per hour from 16 to 17. For all other rec positions that received pay increases, the starting pay increase was about $4 per hour from 16 to 20. After-school fees have nearly tripled in the past 5 years. In 2019, it was $116 a month if you prepaid 2 months at a time. This year, it's $300 per month. I have more information I'd like to share, but to summarize a few key points since my time is limited. In this year's budget proposal, the projected revenues and fee increases minus the labor from pay increases for the after-school program alone creates a surplus of $220,000. For all other rec programs combined, excluding after-school, there's a projected deficit of $131,000 from increases in fees and pay. The increased after-school fees are effectively subsidizing the other programs' pay increases, while itself getting the smallest hourly pay increase for a position it has been unable to adequately staff to expand the program for the last 4 years. I ask that the after-school hiring capacity issue be put on the agenda for the next meeting. I would also ask commissioners, if they can, since this is not an agenda item, but during the director's report, if you could ask what is the current wait list for each school and what is the progress in hiring since the April registration? Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, not related to that, but he did write something and it had a lot of information in it, and I was wondering if maybe he would like, could we make a motion to receive and file if he wants to leave it with us?
I've drafted a more detailed document that I could email to you or submit somehow. I didn't want to bury you guys with a lot of information, but I kind of looked through the budget. Would you like me to submit that offline, or does it have to be done at this meeting?
What would be the best way to?
In order for the document that you don't have this evening to be part of the public record, it would need to be submitted as part of the meeting. You are welcome to still, if you'd like to email it to me, I can still disperse it to the commission, but it won't become part of public record. If you wanted to just leave that, we could attach that to the
I
agenda.
think what I'll do is I'll submit that and then perhaps the next meeting.
Sure.
Or as any comment, we can go on the record then.
Did you hear what she said, though? She said that if you leave that, she can attach it to the next agenda, but if you email us, it won't be. Is that what?
Or if you
Yeah.
email us, you can email us a second bit of information and that would be distributed to us.
Yeah, it's not one or the other. We can leave this and attach that to this agenda, and you could still email me to disperse the information, or you can do one or the other. It's completely up to you.
I'll just email.
And,
Okay.
and would you mind, what was the second question? I know it was the wait list and,
The wait list and then the progress on hiring.
thank you.
I don't know, I know there's a time limit, so I try to keep it under 3 minutes. I had a few more comments, but
I mean,
mean,
I think we
yeah,
can move
yeah,
to extend your
We can
time.
extend your time. There's not like there's people in the crowd.
I don't think we have a very packed agenda, so.
yeah, I guess this is the summer slow.
So if we can just have the formal motion to extend.
Motion to extend time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So to provide some additional context, the staffing issue, I've watched numerous council meetings, commission meetings the last few months, since I'm nervously anticipating if we'll have a spot in rec next year, and trying to figure out how to tell my daughter she can't, attend with her friends. And understandably, the city's approach is that this is a budget issue to solve, right? Revenues must cover costs. So I first became aware of this, there were 2 BRRs, I believe, 38 and 47, attached to DPs. I believe, I'm not sure exact those numbers, but anyways, with the plan to increase staff pay offset by revenue increases. And I emailed Councilman Obaji at the time, who for the last 2 years has been saying we need to pay staff more. He's been pushing for higher pay. And, I said that there's the revenue there to do a more effective pay increase. Even at a higher rate of, let's say, $20 to $23 an hour, the city realizes over $2 in fee revenues for every dollar spent on labor. Because just one staff allows the program to enroll 15 more kids. Instead, we're expecting the rec department to solve a virtually impossible task. As Ms. Orta said, I believe 2 years ago, you need to find quality candidates and qualified candidates that you're comfortable putting with our kids, preferably those with childcare, education, and experience. Candidates that have to go through a relatively lengthy interview and onboarding process, work relatively short shifts on a set schedule, and then find these quality candidates for a position that is paid a starting pay of minimum wage the last 5 years with no benefits. And then retain them with the same low pay range when they get experience and can make more in neighboring cities or for private employers. Lincoln, where my daughter was at, lost several counselors to the Bay Club. this year. And so what I've seen is Ms. Pineda and the rest of the staff have put an immense amount of time into hiring. So I can only imagine how frustrating it is to go through that whole process and you're essentially asking staff to do the job for minimum wage. It's indicative the city in 2023, almost verbatim, had the same issue with crossing guards. And I quote, March 2023, recognizing the compensation was too low to attract and retain dedicated staff members, the City Council approved a pay increase for part-time crossing guards from $15.50 per hour to a range of $20 to $25 per hour. And that's setting budget aside because that doesn't generate revenues to offset the costs. Now, part of the problem there was it cost them more to contract it out to private companies. But similarly with the rec, every position you don't hire, you lose that revenue from 15 additional students, which at $300 a month is nearly $40,000 a year per rec counselor added. I'm not sure if you're aware, in November 2024, there's a $18 an hour California minimum wage on the ballot. Most recent USC poll shows 60% support. So even though we've moved the range up to 17 to 20, by January 1st, that could be 18. So we're kind of starting all over again with pay ranges where we're only offering minimum wage, competing with other cities or jobs that are paying the same, longer shifts or more benefits. So hopefully we can get some momentum. I think this commission and the staff did a fantastic job 2 years ago. It was kind of frustrating to see that the same problem is still happening and really just letting our kids down more than anything else. That's all I have to say for now. And like I said, I can submit a more detailed accounting of the budget process, which I realized was kind of the way to come at this because that seems to be the only way to affect the change that needs to happen. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any e-comments?
No e-comments at this time.
Okay.
Chair, if we're going to close public comment, I thought it might actually be helpful. We did have some information we were going to share during the director's report on the after-school program numbers. Might be helpful. We can pull that and just discuss that now if you would like, just so Mr. Page, I believe that's his last name, can at least get the benefit of hearing that information.
Okay. That's fine with me.
So our after-school program is scheduled to begin on the 21st. We do have wait list for, I believe, all but 1 or 2 school sites. We have been busy doing a lot of interviewing and a lot of hiring for after-school program staff. And we just this week have added 120 kids off of the wait list just this week alone. I'm going to actually turn it over to Michelle. Her and her team have been the ones doing the heavy lifting on this, so I don't know if she has any more information or details to share on that.
So we're starting to make the calls now. So all the parents have not been contacted yet, but they should be contacted by the end of the day tomorrow. I was on vacation, and so as we've been processing people and they've been approved through HR, that's when we decided to add the additional 120. We still have a few more people on the queue. In addition to the pay increases, that will go through HR. So the appropriate protocol is that HR will then send it back to council for approval for all those pay increases to be approved. But the staff has been notified that that's going to be coming shortly.
Okay. So how many people are on the wait? Do you know how many people are on the wait list total? And you said you were able to enroll 120 more.
We're pulling 120 children off of the wait list this week to be enrolled. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but we can have that information for you during the next meeting.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
And I'm curious, so is the after-school program running at a financial deficit currently? Or is it a surplus?
I don't know that we've actually, I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know that our team has really been looking at the numbers to make sure that we're not in a deficit for the program. If we were, I just don't recall. We have so many programs that we look at on a day-to-day basis. So I wouldn't feel comfortable answering that question this evening without seeing the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, my interest is, right, if it's running at a surplus, then the question is like, so do we really need to go back and look again at the pay raises that were recommended of $1? And I'm, in my mind, I'm thinking, there's fast food restaurants out there that are hiring, right? The company I work for, T-Mobile, you can answer phones for $20 an hour, right?
Right.
And so how do we bring them to par with those at minimum, right? Those types of roles. So.
Yeah, that was the goal, I think, when we presented to council our proposal to increase those wages. And you know, it's difficult because fast food restaurants, like you said, are making $20 an hour. So we're trying to get a little bit above that.
Yeah, and you're also looking at the type of employee for that position. You know, there's a lot of preparation that they need to do and to try to retain them. You're kind of looking for a specific type of employee. And so that makes it even more difficult, because if it were just, you know, we can set it at $20 an hour and get high quality people, we need to kind of match that, like, you know.
Yeah.
So usually entry-level position, I mean, Kelly and I started off in the after-school program in South Pasadena, and I was straight out of high school, had zero experience working with kids, and was trained up. And so a lot of that is, like Chris said, a lot of our training procedures and how long it takes to train up a staff member. And as Chris mentioned, yes, sometimes we train up staff and lose some quality staff members to Bay Club or other agencies.
Yeah, but we can, at the end of the meeting, if you'd like to give us a referral, we can provide more of an update to this, because I know this has been a topic of discussion and concern of the commission in the past. And we haven't given you guys an update on it, at least in too much detail, at least in the past few months. So if you'd like, you can give us that as a referral. That way we can be more prepared to answer the more data-driven questions.
Thank you.
Great. And, okay, so we can move on to item I, which is items continued from previous agendas, and we don't have anything. And items for discussion prior to action. We have the commission subcommittee review and project update. So I don't think we have any items.
There's no actionable items related to this for any subcommittee, but it's really an opportunity for any subcommittee members to provide an update to the commission if there's been any work since our last meeting. So I'll turn it over to you all if you have anything to share.
I have a quick informational update for the facilities. We're going to be shaking the tree and sending out emails to try to organize another meeting, hopefully in September, but it might not be to the end of September or October. We'll see how the replies come back. I know they're starting up with the fall seasons right now. And so that would be something that's coming on the radar, hopefully in September.
In September.
So it'd be ideal. And I'll keep you, our next meeting is in September, right? And, you know, so hopefully by then we should have a date.
Okay.
Follow up later, or on the next meeting.
I know.
I don't know how that's gonna work, but yeah, because the next meeting is October, and October is our last meeting here, right? For
September's our last meeting.
Oh, September's our last, so.
So we have one
okay,
more,
so-
yeah.
All right, so there's that.
So Chris, we'll connect after this meeting, but I would like for those meetings to continue. So
Sure.
we'll connect to see what dates work for you, and then
Okay.
we'll schedule them quarterly
Okay,
or
So-
biannually, whatever works for you.
okay.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
and
idea.
just so it's helpful too, I did meet with all this, well, the main staff liaison for the new Public Amenities Commission, just to give a brief overview of all the work this commission has done, any active subcommittees, so that we can start as a team trying to figure out what to recommend to the Public Amenities Commission on how to kind of consolidate all of the work, and whether the subcommittee should continue in what fashion and all of that. So all that to say, I would agree. I think there's a lot of value in this group, and whether it's through an active subcommittee or just a partnership with city staff, I would like this subcommittee to continue in that way. But in the bigger picture, all the subcommittees, there will be future discussions with the Consolidated Commission on the future of the subcommittee and how those will look.
Okay, great.
I have an update for pickleball. I have actually quite a few updates.
Oh, great.
So we had a great,
Do subcommittee.
we had a really great in-person subcommittee meeting with me and Annika and Kelly and Susan Higgins from the public, who's representing many of the pickleball players. A big thank you to Susan Higgins, who put together a really great list of topics for our discussion. And so we spent, I think, about an hour going through everything. So here are some of the updates. And Kelly, please jump in if I get anything wrong or you have any updates. So for Alta Vista, this is where we're looking for the 4 dedicated courts on Court 7. This may require a formal sound study before submitting the negative declaration for CEQA. So I don't know if you have any update on that.
Did confirm that we do, in fact, need to do the sound study. So staff is working on finding a consultant to do that study.
Okay, great. And then I saw the email from Susan about the park requiring ADA site improvement. Did you see that?
Yeah, I believe the park is already ADA accessible. So I don't know that we would need to worry about that. I think that was more geared towards if we were to add that additional court near the the racquetball court, that would need
okay.
ADA access. But obviously, anytime we do any major work, which resurfacing and adding nets likely would fall into that major work category, we would make sure the ADA access from the parking lot to the courts is sufficient.
Okay, great. So for Alta Vista, an RFP process will be required for the resurfacing and striping of all the tennis courts, and Kelly's going to be leading this when she has time. And we're looking at having permanent nets at this site, since these will be dedicated courts, but we'll keep the tennis net up to help separate the pickleball courts so the balls don't go into each of the courts. And then sound mitigation panels and noise dampening panels will be installed on all 4 sides of the court, which will require an installation of a fence in between courts 7 and 8. The fees will be established by the city, and all users will be required to pay the annual $25 membership fee that the tennis users pay. And we'll look to create a drop-in play program once the courts are in place, and recommendations have been provided to Kelly on this topic. And the city has 2 paddle racks saved for use with this drop-in play program once it's implemented. So that's it for Alta Vista. Anyone have any questions, or did I miss
I
anything?
just had a question. On the sound, I thought we were going to wait for the recommendation from whatever the sound consultant delivers as far as a recommendation for mitigation. So I don't know if it makes sense for us to say it's going to be this yet.
So we will make sure that we don't issue the RFP for the work at Alta Vista till we complete the sound study,
Right.
which really is the proper order of operations. And that way, if there are any specific recommendations from the sound study for that noise dampening equipment, we can make sure that's included in the RFP.
Yeah, I just didn't want somebody to say, oh, where's those panels that you said on that date that were going to be installed, and they weren't installed, but they also weren't required, because we know
Okay.
how people can get.
I think they put the money in, though, in the budget for that, though, didn't they?
They did set aside some money for
Yeah.
the noise equipment.
Yeah, for
yes.
sound mitigation, for sure.
Okay. Any other question? Nope. Okay. So for Aviation Park, the design work for this new facility is in the budget for this year. And Rec and Parks will have to meet with Public Works to do the RFP.
Mhm.
And this is at least 30 days out. And I know that there's a lot of projects in front of this from a Public Works perspective. So we don't really have a timeline, but Kelly did offer to provide monthly updates on this to the pickleball community.
Did you say the Rec and Park Commission was supposed to meet?
No, Rec and Parks. for the city,
Okay, tomorrow.
yeah.
I was gonna be so
No.
out of here. Okay.
Yeah, and then Franklin Park, the concrete pad will be striped with pickleball and volleyball court lines for dual use, with the target being early September. And the permanent sign has been installed now, so that's there at Franklin Park. Thank you for that. And I noticed the blue folder item. I don't know if you want to talk about that now, or?
I can if you, yeah. So the blue folder item was a resident noticed there was some surface damage to the existing basketball and pickleball court area. Unfortunately, staff believes that it's not just a simple fix, it may need to be fully resurfaced, but we are reaching out to the contractor to make sure that there isn't some sort of more of a smaller mitigation option that we can, or an easier mitigation option, I should say. The damage isn't significant enough that it's unsafe, but it could impact play if a ball hits. There's just a little kind of divot in the ground. So we have already connected with Public Works so that we can determine how to fix that issue, as well as future courts. It's really whatever the impact was from basically tore away at this new playing surface, and the city, I just don't know that we would be able to make sure that people aren't on there with equipment that shouldn't be there. So the other option is possibly just doing stripes everywhere, not doing the full clean court surfacing, which is fine, but it just doesn't give you the most optimal playing surface for each activity. So we're looking at all the options that we have, and we'll continue to connect with Public Works on how best to proceed.
Great, thank you. Okay, for Dale Page Park, the sealing and smoothing of the surface and painted lines are also targeted for early September as well. And the players will need to bring a portable net to play there, and then signage will be posted for first come, first serve play. And for Perry Park, the permanent sign has now been installed, so thank you for that as well. And this park is now going to be first come, first serve instead of open play. The open play never really worked out very well at that park. And then when the paddle saddle rack was damaged, that's when Susan in the pickleball community said, we don't really need open play there, so we changed it to first come, first serve. And I think that's it. So I really just want to thank Kelly for all your support in this area. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much. It's very exciting
Yeah.
to see things happen. Okay, so on to the volunteer acknowledgement program. Do you have any updates on that? or
No real updates aside from we did receive a new application that we're working to. I don't think we were going to review it tonight, or we're.
No, it didn't make it to the agenda, so it'll be for the next meeting.
Okay.
Aside from that, no new updates.
Okay, great. And then the park ranger subcommittee, there hasn't been a lot of movement in that subcommittee, and now with this commission dissolving, maybe we'll pick that up in the new commission if everyone feels like it, I guess. Okay. So on to J2, which is staff liaison report.
Okay, so just have a few updates and announcements. Our fall classes and activities registration has already begun. The newsletter is posted online. The resident registration began on Monday of this week on the 12th, and non-resident registration will begin next Monday. And classes will begin throughout various dates in September. So please take a look at that and register for any classes that pique your interest. Some upcoming events and updates. This week is our last official week of summer camps. Our summer is finally winding down, at least on the summer camp end. We do have a few upcoming events and activities. Although Seaside Lagoon, I should mention before I jump into the activities, their last day of the season will be Monday, September 2nd. So that will be the final date for Seaside Lagoon. But some upcoming events, we do have an Anderson Senior Center Tea Party, which is scheduled for Thursday. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I have the wrong date on that. Let me look that one up. Because I have July 29th written down. I think I wrote that down. Let me get the date.
That is correct.
July 29th?
I'm sorry, August 29th.
August 29th. Okay, thank
Not
you.
July.
I was
Thank
going
you.
to say that was a few weeks ago. Okay, so it's August 29th, and that's 11 a.m. We're happy to say that event actually is sold out with a wait list. So our senior programs have definitely increased in participation and the sheer volume of activities. So we're really happy to see that program really start to flourish. We have a great team behind that. Wilderness Park summer hours will remain 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., but those will end as well on Labor Day. So that will be the final day for summer hours there. After that, it will be open 10 to 4:30 daily. We do have at Wilderness Park on Sunday, September 8th from 1 to 1:45. We're going to have our story time in the park event. So that's free for anyone that wants to come and enjoy a story time. And then we have our senior health fair is scheduled at the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center on Thursday, September 5th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Another free event for anyone that wants to come. While it's focused on seniors, there's a lot of health information that anyone could share. So feel free to come out. And my final plug that I always do is we are continuing to hire. Our application for all of our part-time positions remain online, and we continually look at those applications and do regular interviews. We don't wait for too many. We try to interview as soon as we receive them, just to make sure we get people in as quickly as possible. So if you do know anyone for after-school programs, even some of our admin, throughout the department, there's just a variety of part-time positions that we hire for on an ongoing basis. Please feel free to just share the city website and they can apply online. And that concludes all of the director's reports items for tonight.
Okay, thank you. And on to K, member items and referrals to staff.
To add an item on the agenda, that's not a referral to staff. Is that?
Yeah,
It would be, yes.
If I could speak on
Yeah,
that.
oh
one.
yeah,
So
please.
I like to ski up in the mountains. And I learned how to ski by skiing in a ski club by the town that I was in. And a bus would pick up kids on a Saturday morning, drive them up to the mountains. They'd ski, get on the bus and come home. And it was pretty cool. And adults wouldn't really need to go. It would be supervised by either staff or whoever. And I'm proposing that we add an agenda item to our next meeting to discuss if that's possible in Redondo Beach to do. I think there would be enough local kids that would be interested in joining a city ski club if there's such a thing. And I think Big Bear is close enough where it could be somewhat reasonable to get a bus up there and back in the same day. And if it can happen a couple of times a year, I don't know if it would pay for itself. I think it would actually. The fees that you could charge, you'd have to, I'd say start a committee or, kind of look into, but regardless of where we are, the idea to kind of keep it going. So I think it would be something that's worth pursuing.
So I was going to suggest, since that's kind of a programmatic recommendation, I would recommend you allow us to, now we know that there's somewhat of an interest for that within our programming, for us to kind of put our heads together. And then maybe offline, we can discuss with you some ideas we may have for it. My only fear in doing a formal agenda item is if you guys hold a formal discussion on it and it's just not something that we can actually do. I just don't want to, set incorrect expectations. So if we can work offline on it, I'm happy to kind of talk through, and we can talk through challenges and see what's possible. Yeah.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
So maybe it's also along the programmatic, I'm not sure. I've received, or there's a conversation happening in my neighborhood next door group around adding chess to the senior centers. Apparently there's not a chess program or an ability for seniors to play chess together necessarily, and there seems to be some interest in it. So I don't know if that's programmatic or what we do, but there's definitely
we can definitely talk to staff and see what opportunities we might have for that.
Cool. I mean, it seems like a pretty low cost effort to start up.
May I ask, was there a specific area of the city?
It's in South, the group was in South Redondo, so I can only,
That's
you
helpful.
know how next door works, so.
Thank you.
But I can go back and just double check for you if you like.
Okay. And I think that we, as a commission, also are interested in getting some of the answers to the after-school program, an update on the numbers, curious about how many people are on the wait list. And I think I think we would just like to have a discussion around the information that staff can provide to us, because I think we all recognize that it's a pretty tough position to be in as a parent, to not have care after school. And, it would be nice to have the discussion. And I just think about, because I went to childcare after school, and YMCA was one of them. Sometimes it was the school that provided it. And so I think in this case, maybe a discussion with the school district as well, since they also have a program. And so I'm not sure how that would happen, but I think it's just really important to put this on the agenda for next time. And
Sure. So I do, since it's a formal request for the future agenda item, just need a motion. That could be the motion if I just need a second and then a vote.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Do we have any other member items or referrals?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good job.